One of the best shoot-em-ups ever released exclusively in Japan is finally getting an officially licensed physical version released on the PAL Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Genesis. My name's Mike, and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. I love official re-releases of games that we get for our Sega Mega Drive and Genesis from companies like Retrobit. More often than not, these games never left Japan, and when they're re-released, it's the first time they're either hitting PAL territories or the Sega Genesis and North American territories. Well, today we've got another re-release, and this one is a big one. It's a game that's been on Sega Genesis and Mega Drive fans' most wanted list for the longest time. Today we're going to be taking a look at and telling you how you can get your hands on this officially licensed physical copy of Advanced Busterhawk Gley Lancer. The new release of Gley Lancer is limited and is coming from our friends at Retrobit. The game will only be available to pre-order from the 22nd of November to the 27th of December. After this date, you will not be able to buy this special release of the game. The game is now being fully localized and brings Gley Lancer officially to PAL Sega Mega Drives and the Sega Genesis 30 years after its exclusive Japanese release. With this physical release, you get a Ruby Nova red transparent cartridge with etching on the PCB, the clamshell case with a reversible cover, a fully translated instruction manual, a presentation sleeve that wraps around the clamshell case, and a numbered certificate of authenticity. I have links to where you can pre-order the game in the description below. So what is Gley Lancer all about? Gley Lancer is one of the best horizontal shmups you'll find on the Sega Mega Drive, and with a little help from the Motorola 68000 CPU clocking in a whopping 7.6 MHz, shmups on the Mega Drive are some of the fastest of their era, and Gley Lancer's no different. Now, Gley Lancer was originally supposed to be called Grey Lancer, but like with all great games from the 90s, the English titles didn't always make their way to the final game intact. The game was only released in Japan, but despite this, the in-game text was all in English. The only part that was in Japanese were the cutscenes. Now, I've always thought that this was because the game could then easily be ported to a Western audience, although a friend of mine in Japan believes this was because the Latin alphabet looked cool in Japanese shmups. Now, I mean, it could be that, although I think the wider adoption theory is probably closer to the mark. Gley Lancer, as we've already established, is a side-scrolling shoot-em-up that has some of the most excellent shooting mechanics on the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. When you start a game of Gley Lancer, you'll get the opportunity to choose your starting speed. Once in the game, you can change this speed dynamically while you're in combat, and this can offer some tactical advantages as you progress through the level. Another unique feature is that you can choose from 7 different formations for your gun pods. This is done before you start the game, and you'll want to play around with these to find one that suits your playstyle before getting deeper into the game. The normal formation sees the gunners, which are your gun pods, facing the same direction as the ship is moving. If you hold down C, then this will lock your guns into their current position. Reverse formation is similar to normal, except the gun pods will move in the opposite direction to your ship. So if you want to shoot behind you, then you'd have to accelerate forwards. The search formation is pretty cool. This is an auto lock-on mode, and your gun pods will take aim at their nearest target. If you tap C while using this mode, you can choose to have both guns target a single enemy or split their fire across multiple enemies. This is particularly useful when you go up against a bullet sponge enemy. Multi-mode will lock each gun pod to the top and bottom of your ship. As your Gley Lancer moves forward and backwards, the guns will switch to firing in that direction. They will also fire an arc of bullets as they change direction. Holding down C in this formation keeps the guns locked in position. Multi-R mode is exactly the same as multi-mode except in reverse. Now, shadow formation gives you concentrated forward firepower. Your gun pods will go where you go, but will have a short delay as you move around the screen. Again, holding down the C button will lock the guns in position. Roll is the final formation, and this will have your gun pods rotating around your ship. It's deceiving as you'd think that having 360 degrees of fire makes combat easier, but the lack of control and the spin speed make this formation less useful than you'd hope. Tapping the C button in this mode moves the guns to a forward firing position. As well as a choice of formations, there are also 7 weapons that you can pick up during the levels by destroying silver and blue pods and collecting their contents. There's Twin Shot, Bound Shot, 5-Way, Spread Bomb, Lasers, Burner and Saber. There are 11 stages in the game, and the levels not only vary visually but also have different structures and even change up the gameplay. There are levels where you need to cut your way through, avoid debris, move vertically as well as horizontally, levels that have maze elements, and levels where you need to avoid moving platform. This variation in the level design combined with the core shooting mechanics makes Gley Lancer a superb shmup on the Sega Mega Drive. The game has some lovely graphics and throws around parallax scrolling like it was nothing. The opening level has an asteroid field with hundreds of asteroids achieved with this parallax scrolling effect. There is also debris floating around which has been exquisitely drawn. From here we're taken to a water planet with some awesome dual plane work going on. There's also a stunning level that sees you flying above clouds of a planet as the sun sets, and another set at night time. The enemies are well drawn, and the bigger ships have some great detail with piping, wiring, armor shielding and some lovely shading. There are also end of level bosses that are significantly larger and more detailed. One of the most impressive visual elements of the game are its stunning cutscenes, all of which are drawn and presented in an anime style. These help apply the narrative layer of the game, which follow a young girl who steals the Gley Lancer ship to rescue her father from an alien race. Being a shmup, the game has plenty of sprites on screen. A mixture of enemies, projectiles and explosions cover the screen, and alongside the detailed background layers, it can sometimes be challenging to spot oncoming threats. There are a few times where I was confidently dispatching enemies and then blew up because a sneaky projectile had made its way to me under the cover of a ton of sprites on the screen. The soundtrack is stunning, and there are some absolute classic tunes in the game. Japanese developers were masters at getting the most out of the Sega Mega Drive sound processor. The game has your ship's AI constantly talking to you, whether it's letting you know what weapon you have or just giving you advice. It's such a novelty to hear such clear digitized voices.
A huge enemy stands in your way.
Sound effects are also well implemented with some nice explosion sounds and different effects for all the weapons. The polish across the game is amazing and the sound is no different. This is amazing! One of the best shoot 'em ups ever to be released on the Sega Mega Drive, and it's now coming to European and North American owners, so we can have it now physically on our shelves. This is probably going to be the first and only time you're going to get the opportunity to own a licensed version of this game that works on your console. Now remember, if you want to get your hands on it, it's only available from the 22nd of November to the 27th of December 2022, and we've got links in the description below where you can pre-order the game. Now if you love finding out about new games for your Sega Genesis and Mega Drive, if you love retro gaming in general, why not consider subscribing? You can do this by clicking on a little button just below this video. We put up brand new retro gaming videos every single Monday, and so that you don't miss it, make sure you click on the little bell just below this video. Now if you can't wait until Monday, if that's way too long to wait, don't worry, because we've got a huge back catalogue of retro gaming videos for you to enjoy, 2 of which you can watch over here.